Hey everybody, Sam Kavaris in the Nimnik Sports Update powered by Budweiser. So the Jaguars hire Mike Mularkey after one interview, and the reason that they took him so quickly and offered him the job is not only was he impressive in the interview, got a great pedigree, is really what they were looking for in terms of the embodiment of all the different things that they liked. But they didn't want him to go to Miami and talk about that job and accept the job down there the next day. And that's how the story got out, in that the representatives from Mularkey called Miami and said, hey, he's not coming, because he had accepted the job there. So Mularkey's the head coach. His first priority was to keep Mel Tucker as a defensive coordinator, and he was able to do that. And Mel seriously considered leaving. But when you talk to the two guys, they are so similar in philosophy and so similar in, as Mel Tucker called it, being a servant leader. And as Mularkey said, it's our job as coaches. We want those players to succeed, and they need to know that. So those are the kinds of things that when you see two guys like that agree on that and join forces, has a real positive thing. So positive that Mularkey allowed, or actually gave, Mel the title of assistant head coach as well as defensive coordinator. Joe Cullen has already agreed to stay. Mark Duffner is going to stay. Mel will be able to fill out the staff defensively, so I think that's a real positive thing for the Jaguars. Offensively, Bob Bratkowski will be the offensive coordinator. 10 years as the offensive coordinator in Cincinnati. Last year as the quarterback's coach for Matt Ryan and Mularkey for the Atlanta Falcons. This guy knows quarterbacks. He knows offensive schemes. You think about these teams. Cincinnati, over the last 10 years, you've thought about them as a kind of an offensive team with Carson Palmer and T.J. Houshmandzadeh and Chad Ochocinco. I mean, these are kind of household names in the league. Well, the Jaguars haven't been that since Brunell, McCardell, and Smith, along with Fred Taylor in the backfield. So we're talking about some high-powered guys who all seem to have that same vision, see things with the same eyes. I asked Mularkey if he was going to hire a quarterback's coach, and he said absolutely, because you need somebody to really work with a quarterback on every little detail all the time. And I think that's a very smart thing. I asked Mike at this little casual get-together that they had at the locker room if he had a dream team in his head of who coaches he'd like to have. And he said, well, you always have to have that. And then he kind of paused and said, and it's kind of fallen together like that. So if, in fact, Mularkey gets 80-90% of the guys that he wants, and Gene Smith has Mularkey as his guy, and Shad Khan has Gene Smith as his guy, then everything's in place. No finger pointing. It'll all be looking in the mirror and figuring out who's not getting the job done if they're not winning. It seems like they're on their way. And one thing's for sure, we'll know after 16 games this coming year whether Blaine Gabbert is an NFL quarterback or not. Because if he is, these guys will turn him into one. If he's not, they'll send him packing. I'm Sam Kavaris. That's the Nimnik Sports Update, powered by Budweiser.